Hello, Incredible One. Welcome to the Incredible Factor Business Podcast, the place to be to grow a business that shakes the planet. I'm your host, business growth coach, Darnyelle J. Harmon. Join me each week for inspiring stories, powerful interviews, and business growth strategy to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. Oh, and one more thing. On this podcast, I'm going to keep it all the way real with you about the good, the bad, and the incredible of entrepreneurship. But don't worry, it's all for your good so that you can build a business that funds the life you crave. Let's jump into today's episode. Hello, Incredible One. Welcome back. Darnyelle here. So excited to welcome you to another episode. This episode is powered by the Breakthrough in Business Experience, which is happening May 21st through the 24th, just outside of Philadelphia in Wilmington, Delaware. And if you are tired of sitting in struggle and ready to strut in significance, this is the only event of its kind guaranteed to help you to take your life and business to the next level. Visit breakthroughinbusinessevent.com to learn more. As we get started this episode, I just want you to know that I'm praying for you. And my prayer for you is that you would see yourself the way that God sees you. And in so doing, you would realize that there is nothing about you that needs to change, that you don't need to do more, that you don't need to be more, that in this moment, completely isolated from every other thing, you are more than enough. I really hope that you receive the prayer that I have for you, because it is my desire to help you to show up more powerfully in the world and to use your business as the ability to create change in the lives of other people. So this time around, we are talking about the S, the proverbial S, the S that gets us in a lot of trouble, the S that some women have on their chests. And the truth is, you can have that S. Like, I decided a long time ago that I was not going to be made to feel guilty for deciding that I am not a superwoman. I think Karen White said it best. If you guys remember that song from the 90s, I'm not your superwoman. I almost was about to sing it for you, but I don't think you want to know me that way. So I'll just refrain and say, I'm not your superwoman. I think about that song and the lyrics say, early in the morning, I put breakfast on the table. I make sure that your coffee has its sugar and cream. And she goes on and on and on and talks about how the eggs are over easily and the toast was done lightly and everything that was done the way it needed to be. But what was missing was her morning kiss, right? And how she's trying to be all these things to this man and she is losing what is most important to herself. And how many of you remember that commercial for that fragrance Anjoli? And the lyrics to the song said, I can bring home the bacon and fry him up in a pan, right? I remember as a child thinking that one day I was going to be that woman. Boy, was I jaded. The things that you think when you're small and you're impressionable and you're taking everything in. And honestly, it probably would have been that way for me had it not been for Mary Kay Ash. Yep. Mary Kay Ash, you know, the old white lady with the big white hair, or at least that's what she looked like by the time I got into Mary Kay. And many of you know that I did spend some time in Mary Kay. I think I started my Mary Kay business around 2001. And I ended up sending my pink Cadillac back to the company in 2008. So for 7 years, I was a Mary Kay lady. I was a top sales director. I became a sales director in 2005. That was around the time that I was leaving my full-time job. If you remember, that was when I picked up the pink Cadillac 5 months after walking away. And, you know, I won a total of 5 career cars. 2 of them were the pink Cadillac. I got over 8 carats worth of diamonds. I did the Queen's Court of Sharing 3 times and the Queen's Court of Sales once. And I got a double star and a triple star and was a qualifying unit. Listen, we did a lot in Mary Kay. Why am I even sharing any of that with you? My point is this. Mary Kay said something very profound to me. Well, she said it to anyone who listened to that particular recording because she had passed by the time I entered Mary Kay. But she said something really profound that has had a hold on me ever since she said it. And this is what she said. She said, I want you to focus on only the things you want to get bigger. Now, in order for that to really be relevant for you, especially at this point in time, I have to share with you a little bit more of the backdrop of what she was talking about and that specific excerpt of her. Whenever you would call the Mary Kay headquarters, playing in the background would be old voice recordings of Mary Kay Ash, which I think was just perfect because people like me who weren't in Mary Kay when she was still alive, I never would have known her were it not for these powerful recordings. And so I'm calling into the company for whatever reason on that day. And I heard her say that, focus on only what you want to get bigger. And what she was talking about specifically was creating space in your life for your best life before we were calling it that, and not doing chores or spending time on things that you could pay someone else to do so that you would be free to do what sets your heart on fire. And it stuck with me at that moment because prior to that, when I was in corporate America, I was trying to be a superwoman. I was trying to bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan. And I realized that while there are many things I love about being a woman and even today being a wife, you know, many of you know that I'm a newly married woman, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. One of the things I love is being able to cater to my man, but something that I realized very early on in our relationship, especially because of my business and my destiny and what I'm here to do in the world, is that I'm not a superwoman and I'm not trying to be. I know so many women who get caught up in the superwoman complex. They're trying to excel at everything instead of practicing self-care, securing their mask before helping those who are traveling with them, like they remind us when we're on an airplane. And they're not prioritizing where they must show up fully next. Now, I'm certainly not trying to suggest to you that it's an either or situation, like either you are a superwoman or you're not. I think that there's a delicate dance in between, and that there are times when you are being everything that you're needed to be. And there are other times when you fall back in the name of self-care and self-preservation. And I think it's a delicate balance. And so I say to you, if you are listening and you are a woman entrepreneur, you know, you're a CEO in your own business, you're a wife, you're a mother, and maybe you even still have a job. Like you could still have a job. Lose the superwoman syndrome and get the help that you need in order to get the most out of your life. Listen, we only live once and we are not coming back. Okay. And I think it gets really real for us when we lose someone we love and we realize how short life is. Life is short. And you don't want to be remembered for being the person who always did it all. You want to be remembered for being the person who was fully present. And I have to admit to you, I'm still working on this. Like I said a few moments ago, I'm newly married and I'm still trying to get the hang of everything that goes along with being a wife and a CEO. I'm not a mother yet. And I'm still trying to get the hang of it because I struggle with being fully present in the moment. When you are a CEO of a company, and I'm a true CEO, I'm not a solopreneur masquerading as a CEO. I have a team and I have employees and I have responsibility and I have things that I'm doing and I'm responsible for. I'm always trying to manage that in addition to being a wife and eventually a mother. Because the first thing that I am outside of being a child of the Most High God, my next responsibility is to being a wife and then to being the CEO of this company that is responsible for transforming so many lives. And I know that it can get challenging to manage it all. And so I wanted to just offer my 2 cents on the superwoman syndrome and what you can do if you are struggling with it, to struggle with it less and to position yourself in order to be able to get the most out of your life and how to feel good and feel happy in everything that's going on, right? Because what I don't want is I don't want for you to think that you have this expectation that you can and should do everything, especially those of you who are full-time entrepreneurs. If you're technically right now sitting in your business as a solopreneur masquerading as a CEO, I want to encourage you to build a team and to stop trying to do everything. And trust me, I know firsthand how hard it can be to get the right people on the seats in the bus, and how sometimes it's just easier to do it yourself. I mean, I personally graduated from the if you want something done right, do it yourself school. I'm trying to shift because I don't want to burn out way before I cash out on my purpose and on my brilliance and on my ability to be able to shift and change the lives of other people. And I don't want you to cash out either, right? And so I just want to share my 2 cents about what you should be focused on and what are some of the things that you can do if you are caught up in the superwoman syndrome. So you can literally give them back their S, totally give them back their S, and open yourself up to getting the most out of your life. Trying to be a perfectionist is for the birds. It is over. Stop it. Instead of that, deal with why you're desiring to be a superwoman in the first place. Like, some of the reasons why women step into the role of superwoman is because as a child, they had to be the good little girl. They wanted to please everyone. They were seeking attention, to feel as if they were worthy or valued, or because their self-esteem was really low. That's the main reason why I believe, and this is the world according to Darnyelle, as I share every single time I'm doing an episode with you. This is the reason why women become superwoman or attempt to become superwoman. But here's the thing. The only person you need to please is yourself. And above that is God. And to do things that set your heart and soul on fire and makes you feel good. And sometimes that is simply going to be using the word no, because no is a complete syndrome, right? So let's talk about how you get off the hamster wheel, because I think that trying to be a superwoman is in fact the hamster wheel. And I think that many talented, creative, high achieving women step into the role of superwoman because they don't know what else to do. They've donned the cape and the mask, and they have actually hindered their chances of experiencing success and peace and integrity and work that sets their whole heart on fire. And because these women choose to live like superwomen, they think that they can just take it easily off. But it's not necessarily that simple. It is going to take real work, inner work. I say this all the time. It is your inner work that produces your outward results, because you have to change the way you see yourself. You literally have to look in that proverbial mirror on the wall and see a different image reflecting back to you in order to make the change. And here are just some of my favorite quick tips of things that you can do if you struggle with the superwoman syndrome. I recommend first and foremost that you create a list. I want you to take a sheet of paper and I want you to put it in 3 columns. And the first column, I want you to put hate to do. In the second column, I want you to put tolerate doing. And in the third column, I want you to put love to do. And then, I know you know where I'm going with this, I want you to feel it. I want you to literally write down the things that you are doing right now that you hate to do, that you tolerate doing, and you love to do. The goal, ultimately, in order for you to stop being a superwoman, the goal is to take everything that you hate to do and tolerate doing and outsource it. Delegate it. Give it to someone else so that you can focus on keeping your life simple and doing only the work that sets your heart on fire. It's going to be important that you begin leading a simpler and less chaotic life by starting with recognizing where you are showing up now that is not serving you. It's not for your best and highest good. You don't do it in the best possible way. It takes more time. You make mistakes. You're not passionate around it. All of that, it's got to go. So that's the first step, is to simplify your life by figuring out what you need to let go of. And know that by letting things go, you're actually exhibiting more strength than to hold on to it. Let me repeat that. By letting things go, you're actually exhibiting more strength than you would if you were to hold on to it. Second thing you need to do is you need to pay more attention to be fully present in each day. You want to start the day not just jumping up and hitting the ground running, but give yourself some extra time. If you know you have children or you have, lunches to prepare or whatever the things might be that you need to do, you might need to get up a little bit earlier, which means you might need to go to bed a little bit sooner so that you have the time and energy and space to focus in on making yourself a priority. See, superwomen often leave themselves in the lurch. They're their last thing on their list instead of being the first thing on their list. So you're going to have to be more intentional by paying more time to your day. The third thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to say no more. Say no more. Let me repeat that one more time so it seeps into your spirit. Say no more. Number 4, let go. You're going to have to let go. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to get done. Whew, I hope that just caused you a true sigh of relief. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. And 5, you need to celebrate yourself with self-care. Celebrate yourself with self-care. Number 1, let me just repeat them. You're going to start by simplifying your day by creating the list, the hate to do, tolerate doing, love to do. Get that done first, right? First and foremost. Number 2, pay more attention to your day by being intentional so that you can be fully present. That one right there is just so powerful, right? Then you're going to say no more. It is okay if the answer is no. 4th, you are going to delegate more. You're going to let things go. And 5th, you are going to celebrate yourself with self-care. You can have that S. You do not need to be a superwoman. You do not need to try to be all things to all people, especially without being everything that you need to be for yourself. So I want you to work on taking the S off of your chest, sitting it down and setting expectations. If you have children, if you have a spouse, communicate. One of the things that we created in our household, even though right now it's just myself and my husband, is we have a weekly team meeting, Team Harmon. We meet every single week and we talk about what's going on, what's with us, and not taking for granted that we spend a large majority of our time together, but making sure that we have time to hone in and dial in on the goals and objectives that we have as a couple, things for our marriage, and what's important for us to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and we're not just being inundated by the process of living, but instead we are not inundated by the process of surviving, and instead we are focused on living and getting the most out of our lives. We are not just our titles, right? We are living, breathing human beings that are here to have an amazing experience and to create an environment for others to experience their greatness because we stepped up into ours. That's who we are. That's who you are. So you got to get rid of that S. It's not serving you. Let it go. Let it go. You can have that S. In fact, I'm just going to encourage you to get rid of it. Don't try to do it all. Don't try to be it all. Get the help you need. I remember when my husband and I were dating, and I asked this question. I probably asked this question to every guy I ever dated. But the question would be something like, what's more important to you? That the house be clean or that I clean the house? What's more important to you? That the house be clean or that I clean the house, right? And the reason why I would ask that question is because I'm not going to be a housekeeper. I have a person who comes in every other week to clean the home. Now, I don't live in a pigsty. We won't live in a pigsty. I don't have a problem and will pick up behind myself. But I didn't want to be wrapped into this role of being the person who would be, washing the dishes and vacuuming the floors and all of that, because I'm a CEO and I'm running a company, right? It was important to me enough to have that conversation because I took the time to do the list, the hate to do, tolerate doing, and the love to do list. right? Just like when we have children, it is my full intention that we will have a nanny. I'm not looking for someone else to raise my children, but I think that mommy needs an assistant. I am not Superwoman. I'm not your Superwoman. I'm not anybody's Superwoman. I don't want the S on my chest. You can have this S. So we are going to prepare ourselves accordingly to be able to have a support person in the house to help us run and manage the house so that I can be fully present for the children. I can be fully present for my husband. And I know that I have the support that I need to ensure that everything is happening the way that it should happen. And I would encourage you to look for opportunities to set your life up that way too. It's easier than you think, and yes, you can afford it. I don't know why anyone would ever spend their time on a task that they could pay somebody $50 an hour to do so that they would be free to go out and make thousands of dollars an hour. I don't know why anybody would do that. So stop trying to be a superwoman and position yourself to get the support that you need so that you can start loving your life and experiencing it in its fullness, because no day is promised. None of us. I shared this previously. I think I shared it on an episode of the podcast. I went to Charlotte not that long ago and buried, at the time of this recording, and buried and celebrated the life of my 32-year-old first cousin who left 4 children and a husband in her wake. And I know she thought she had more time. And while it is my hope and prayer that you do, in fact, have more time, I want you to spend that time living your best life, experiencing everything that is important to you, and not spending your time on tasks that you could have delegated to someone else because you were trying to be a superwoman. You are valuable. You are worth it. You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are talented. You deserve to have the support that you need so that you can live your best life. That is the space I'm holding for you, incredible one. And I'll be holding that space until we meet again. I'll see you next time. And remember, let them have that S. You don't need it. No superwoman here. Just a woman committed to loving life and doing her part to shake the planet. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for joining me for the Incredible Factor Business Podcast. I'd love to help you grow a business that shakes the planet. Get started today by joining our exclusive community at sixfigurecashflowclub.com. And if you enjoyed our time together, do yourself a favor. Head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Until next time, you deserve a business that funds the life you crave. Take care.